Hi Scorpio, this is your reading for March 2019. Thanks for watching. Please set aside anything that you're doing so you're not multitasking. And all of your presence is here with me for your reading. While I'm shuffling, please check in with your higher self and your guides. Tune in with them and ask them to check in with my higher self and my guides so that we can create a feedback loop to get clear and relevant messages that are especially tailored for you. Tune into the deck and send your energy over this way. Okay, Scorpio, let's have a look. While I was shuffling earlier, the Tower card flipped out and it's showing up here in the reading as your outcome card. So we'll get to that in a second, but that seems very relevant. The first impression I get from the cards, and as I was putting them down, it became evident that you have the Eight of Pentacles here at the bottom of the deck in reverse position. There's a lot of energy here that is suggesting overwork. Your workload is too high, it's too great, there's too much load on you, So the center of the reading, you have this Ten of Wands upright crossed by the Seven of Swords. And what stands out to me about both of these cards is the load on the back of the person there in the image. So there's also this Ten of Swords here. There's two tens in the reading upright. There's also this Eight of Swords. Both of these also suggesting kind of too much workload, a lot of pressure. But then you have this Eight of Swords and Two of Swords as well coming out. Both of these cards showing that, as far as I can see, that you're not aware. You're not aware of some issues going on here. We'll go into a little bit deeper, but fundamentally, when I see these two cards come out together, and to be honest, they have been coming out together quite a lot in many of the readings the last few months, which is a little disconcerting. I feel that the energy of these two cards when they come out together is that there's a lack of willingness to acknowledge what you know to be true, and that there's this kind of denial energy around your position and the situation that you're in and your responsibility for it. So we'll go into that a little bit further as we move around the reading. But there's a lot of swords cards here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 swords cards. 7, excuse me. So a lot of energy in the mental plane at this time, like a lot of thinking, perhaps overthinking. I think as suggested by, oh, excuse me, there's the Page of Swords as well. So there's actually 8 swords cards in the reading. That's a lot. And then the remaining 4 cards, there's five major arcana cards, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 swords cards. So I would say that February is going to be quite a big month for you, Scorpio. I think there's a lot of transition and change that could be happening here. I feel like there is a very urgent need to change your workflow, your work style, and your workload. I think that you could really do well to close out some cycles here. That's what I feel with these two tens. There's a need to kind of complete something, whether it's a project that you've been working on or even a job. Like maybe it's time to actually move on from a job. Of course, as always, these readings are general, so this could be a relationship, it could be anything. It depends on what your situation is. So just utilize the information that I'm sharing here and work with it to kind of benefit yourself in your life, okay? Now, this central axis of the reading here, going from the unconscious mind to the conscious mind, you have the Eight of Swords upright, Ten of Wands crossed by Seven of Swords, and the Judgment in reverse. What I feel that this is saying here, pretty loudly actually, is that you know there's some urgent there's some urgent changes that need to be made. There's definitely a need to change your workflow, your work style, your workload. but that you are not willing to admit that. The Seven of Swords here crossing you at the heart of the reading is saying to me that you are, again, in denial. These Three Swords cards here are all saying the same thing to me, that you're in denial. You're in denial about the changes that need to be made. You're in denial about the responsibility that you have. I feel like this Judgment card here in the crowning position, it's leaning towards the interpretation for me that your health could be at risk here. Like, I feel like if you don't make some changes soon, there could be some impact on your physical well-being. I also feel that with the Judgment card being in reverse here, that there is a message around, again, honesty or the lack of it. Like the Judgment card for me is about like a rebirth or a revelation moment after a difficult time. And I get the feeling that since this card is in reverse here, that you may still be in that difficult time. And the fact that it's in reverse here is saying that maybe, and with all these Swords cards here as well, it feels like whatever lesson there is there that for you to, like, whatever information there is for you to be gleaned from the current situation that you're in, because you have these blindfolds on and these bindings on and this refusal to see what's in front of you, you haven't actually been able to benefit from the situation you're in. So you're still in the kind of, I'm hearing ear in the mud. This is like you're in the difficult situation that you're in right now because you haven't actually removed the blindfolds and seen the reality of the situation for what it is, and so you're unable to sort of transition out of it at this time. But I think given the situation being like, if it's what I think it is, if from what I can see here, it's not really like you're not going to be able to pursue or continue for much longer in the situation that you're in, given the forces that are acting on you now, the influences that are acting on you. Some of the other cards here in the reading, as I mentioned, there's 5 major arcana cards, and you also have the King of Swords up right here in the position of the outcome, the final outcome. I'll get to that in a second, but I want to talk about these cards down here at the foundation. So the Page of Swords in reverse with the 10 of Swords here. I mean, there's a couple of different interpretations I'm going to give you, so it's going to be dependent on your situation. It'll be up to you to use whatever interpretation applies for you. But on one hand, it feels like for some of you, you may actually find that you receive a communication this month which causes you to close out a cycle, but the communication may come in the form of a passing comment or a gossipy type of, like, I feel like it's information coming to you, and it's also kind of confirmed with the 7 of Swords here. I feel like it's an indirect communication that's coming through kind of maybe shady channels or inappropriate, like it's not coming directly from the person that should be giving you the message, is what I feel. But that it causes you to close out a cycle. But that in itself is a beneficial thing, because I feel like this cycle needs to be closed. But the way that it comes about may not necessarily be like the most integral or the most upright and righteous, is what I feel. And it could have something to do with this Queen of Cups here in reverse. So in this quadrant here, you have the Queen of Cups in reverse with the 5 of Swords in reverse. Again, this could also be related to this communication that could be gossipy, or could be a passing comment that comes to you that catalyzes a situation because there is an indirect communication or some kind of I also feel that for some of you, there might be something coming in through your dreams that may be information that's valuable to you that you can utilize to gain clarity on a situation. Some of this may not be actually issues that are in your mundane world with other people. This could be, some of what's going on here could simply be an emotional state that you're in at the moment, which is, I'm feeling like it's very trying. You're exhausted. I feel like there's an exhaustion here, an emotional exhaustion as well as a physical one. And there could be, for some of you, I don't think this is for everyone, but I feel like that for some of you there could be some kind of issue with a female or a person of watery persuasion, like someone who's a little bit emotional, maybe emotionally immature, who you may be having some difficulties with. It could be someone at work or someone around you in your environment. It may not be necessarily a friend, but more like someone that's in your circle of influence, but not necessarily someone that you consider like a close friend or something. It could be though for some. That there's some kind of like cold shouldering, or the opposite. There could be too much talking, like overly sharing, but somehow there's information being passed through that has a catalyzing effect that could cause you to realize either someone has been behaving badly behind your back, or someone is like has been dishonest to you. It could be this person, or it could be that this person is just passing on the message and you're finding out that there's some behavior going on behind your back which is uncool, let's say. But in general, like the overall feeling for the reading for everyone here is that if you've been in a time where things have been feeling trying and feeling difficult, where you feel like you've been kind of pushed to the limit of your stamina and endurance in a physical and an emotional way, that there is a shift coming soon, and during this time there is like some kind of awakening happening where you could feel like a sense of liberation from a difficult experience. Now, coming into the reading on this central axis this way here, you have what's the recent past and what like the near future, let's say. So here you have the Hangman in reverse and the Two of Swords. I feel that for some of you there may have been like, you may have been wanting to make some, I'm hearing superstition. I feel like for some of you there may have been like this desire to make some changes in your situation, but maybe you have felt like you have been unable to make any movement. And again, it could be because of the influence of some other people in your environment. It could be, for some of you, I feel like you've made a promise. It could be an actual contract, like if this is about your work, it could be that you're under contract and you're not able to sort of end your contract or end your your workload, or change your workload because you're committed to something that you've made a promise to. But again, I feel like that sometime during this month that things will start to shift, and you may be able to find some relief out of that sort of binding contractual agreement. That could also be what this Ten of Swords is here with this Page of Swords in reverse. Now, up here in these crowning cards, it's a lot more positive. That sounded and felt quite heavy there, but I feel like that coming through the month, you're going to feel a little bit of relief. I feel like there's this sense here with the Sun and the Strength card here, both showing up in the position of your hopes and fears. I feel like the Strength is lending that a little extra, like, second wind that you need, a bit more pushed for your stamina and in your endurance to kind of continue with what's going on here, to see it through and be able to kind of close it out and move on. The Sun as well is offering like this sense of positivity, of feeling like, yes, you've been in a difficult situation, but you're bringing your best every day, and you're striving to kind of make sure that you fulfill all your promises and complete all the projects that you signed on for, so that you can walk away with your head high, feeling righteous and feeling clear and like resolved of any kind of any responsibility that someone might try to pass on to you. So it's a very positive, like I feel like your energy in all of this, even though there is this binding kind of tied down sort of feeling with like over promised kind of feeling, I do feel like you are maintaining a very integral kind of clear energy with this King of Swords here. I feel like this is you coming through here with like making sure that you complete everything that you said you were going to complete. But then the Tower card here in reverse in the outcome position, I feel like in general, like in this reading, seeing the Tower and the Judgment card, both in crowning positions of the reading here, both in reverse, are actually, there is an energy here around like a catalyzation or a shift out of what's been a difficult time into something that we'll see further at the bottom when we do the extended cards here. But I feel like this is saying here that change is imminent and you will benefit from a catalyzing effect, even if it may feel a little bit uncomfortable at first, or it may come through in channels that are what's the word, unexpected or inappropriate. I'm hearing like the catalyzation may come through some kind of inappropriate action, but I feel in the end that you will benefit from this catalyzation or from this change, and it's going to help transition you out of what's been kind of a long enduring and heavy workload. And again, this could be speaking about work or about a romantic relationship, or any kind of situation that you might be in, you could apply these kind of descriptions to. At the bottom of the deck, 8 of Pentacles reversed, Temperance reversed, 2 of Pentacles upright, and 4 of Pentacles reversed. There's also the Ace of Wands here. I'm going to take that. And actually the 8 of Wands here as well. I feel like that's part of the reading. Again, the Eight of Pentacles in reverse was where I felt like mostly this reading was about a workload that was too heavy. It could also be actually that this could be talking about your personal development, like the work you've been doing on yourself. It could be that you've been feeling a little bit like in the dark and confused and like trapped in your own mind somehow. But there is like something happening during this time where light will be shone on something dark that has now been revealed from the unconscious mind to the conscious mind, and it's giving you a sense of clarity and truth and wisdom and understanding that's enabling you to transition out of a difficult time and into much more stable and safe and quality time. Again, you know, when the Tower comes out, it's not really always that exciting to see, but I don't see that as a negative influence in this reading at this time at all. I see this as a very beneficial energy because clearly things need to change and move. And this energy of disruption, this energy that Uranus brings, Uranus is moving into Taurus this month, so this is affecting all of us. And this card has come out in a few readings this month. So I see it as a very positive, a very beneficial energy, a very enlightening kind of energy. There will be, I think for many people, sudden changes and realizations that will have a very big impact on their life for a long time to come in a really good way. If you rise up to meet the opportunity, right? Now, Temperance here with the 2 of Pentacles and the 4 of Wands. I do feel that this Temperance card is connected somewhat to this kind of energy down here I was talking about earlier with like a heavy workload, a binding energy, a kind of maybe some denial or inability to see what's happening, maybe some confusion there, perhaps some dishonesty around you or even yourself. I feel like this is related to that, and it has something to do with just reconciling and forgiveness, clarity, just accepting and letting go. Now, and the 2 of Pentacles with the 4 of Wands. For some of you, if this energy is about your relationship and it's about a breakup, I feel that there is the potential that, like, from moving out of the family home or separation from a marriage or a partnership. And the 2 of Pentacles here is suggesting that you have this 2 of Swords here as well. So for some of you, there's definitely a decision on the horizon that you will need to make. And I can't tell you what to do. I certainly cannot tell you what will happen. That's not my job. But I can say here that you ought to make the decision coming from the place of self-love, unconditional self-love, and doing what feels right for you, what feels like the most nurturing and the most, I'm hearing clever, the most clever decision to make, the most rightful decision, righteous decision to make, the one that will benefit you for a more long-term kind of energy is what I feel. And then the Ace of Wands here with the 8 of Pentacles, Ace of Wands and the 8 of Wands, both upright, I feel is similar. It's similar to what I just described there. It's like making a clear decision for something that will have a long-term effect. And I think that you know what the right thing to do is already. It's just a question of really anchoring into the clarity that gives, right? King of Swords. It's like overcoming this kind of energy of denial and confusion and uncertainty and the inability to make a decision, to come to this place where you understand clearly from a place of wisdom and from a place of knowing and understanding what's the right thing to do. And in that case, you bring yourself to this place of a new beginning, of a fresh uprising of fiery, positive energy that will help bring you to a new place and activate you. That's the Eight of Pentacles. An energy of activation, of stabilization, of a quickening. It's a quickening energy, some swift energy moving in to kind of help you synchronize with your true north and align with your own energy and move away from difficult influences of negative people, of situations that have been trying and troubling and difficult, and move into more clear, stable, freeing, liberating kind of energy that feels like in sync with your own personal inner clock. I think that's your general reading, Scorpio. Let me just check over here. Let's have a look at the Voyager deck now to give you a higher octave reading. I'm going to use the same spread again. While I shuffle, please send your energy over into the deck so I can get really clear messages for you. The higher octave reading is designed to give a little bit more insight into what's happening on a karmic and spiritual level, to help us understand the opportunities that are available to us and how best to move forward with grace, with wisdom, to make the most of those opportunities available. Time Space, which is number 20 from the Major Arcana. It's the Judgment card. In this reading here, you have it in the upright position. So it's mirroring this crowning card from the previous reading. It's really interesting. Crossed by the Ace of Crystals, the Hierophant reversed, 7 of Worlds, 8 of Worlds, 9 of Cups, Woman of Crystals, 10 of Cups reversed, Woman of Cups, Strength reversed, Man of Cups, the Moon, Wheel of Fortune reversed, and 3 of Cups. Cool. Okay, let's take a look here, Scorpio. Obviously, the most vivid thing for me in this reading is that you have the Judgment card in this position of the heart of the reading, where before it was in the crowning position and it was in reverse. So it seems to me like that as you move through this time and receive these kind of impulses through your intuition, that movement of something becoming, coming from being a sort of overthought to becoming the heart of the matter is very significant. So it says to me that you have become more aware and grounded in the knowing that there is a definitive moment happening right now where there is a major transformation or a life-changing event happening, or a revelation or information being brought to light that is very beneficial to you, even though it may be difficult. But that actually this moment of you rising up in that awareness is actually kind of the breaking point where the difficulty is actually over and you start to kind of move into a more smooth, stable and grounded, I guess, space within yourself. So it's almost like that feeling you get, when you're in a difficult time and you're struggling against it, and the clarity is there, but it's kind of just in your peripheral vision, the Ace of Crystals here. And it's that moment when you actually just accept the truth. That's when you start to feel better. Because that's actually all it is. It's really just a mindset, right? Usually it's everything is mind. So whatever difficult situations you might be in, or circumstances that you might be in, or difficult people that you might be around, fundamentally it's your decision to have clarity about those things that enables you to then be empowered to make decisions in how you're going to move forward, and the action that you're going to take that actually brings you the liberation that you need, and it brings you that well-being, that sense of wholeness and clarity that comes from acting from a place of self-love. Because you know what to do and you know the right action, but oftentimes we get easily distracted by our sense of obligation or the promises we think we must make, or things like this. So I'm really happy to see these two cards come out here in the center of the reading, because I feel like it's a very affirming energy, showing that you are ready to take that step into clarity and make have that awareness be illuminated by your own mind, and then be able to, as I said, take action based on that clarity that you've received, that you've opened up to. Now, this axis here from recent past to present, you have the 9 of Cups and the 8 of Worlds. So this is beautiful for me. I feel really happy to see these cards here, and they're all upright. The 9 of Cups is the card of in this deck it's called Fulfillment. In the Rider-Waite deck, it's that image that's very beautiful of that kind of the character sitting like this with the 9 cups filled behind him. It's the card about self-esteem, self-content, commitment to the self, like that self-love that is kind of the fundamental key to a sense of well-being. It's self-esteem. Essentially, it's self-esteem, self-love and self-esteem. So it says to me that you're coming from that place, and that you're making decisions based on that sense, as I was describing here. Like when you make decisions coming from that place of what is right for me, what is going to benefit my sense of well-being, how can I make decisions, or how can I move forward from this place in ways that are protecting my health and my wellness, my well-being, my state of wholeness, my sense of safety, and my sense of, you know, what's right for me, right? And then the final card is this Eight of Worlds upright, which you had in the previous reading in the reverse, suggesting that, you know, a lot of what that reading was about was overwork, over commitment, over promising, a sense of exhaustion coming from those things. And seeing it come in here in the position of the outcome facing the right way up says to me that you are harmonizing and balancing that, and you're coming back to a state of, yeah, balance in your work and in your rest time. Also balancing yourself in your personal development work, like coming to this space of, like, I don't know how to say that, but like coming into like leaning back into the process of this like endless path of understanding the self, instead of being so like striving so hard to achieve that you exhaust yourself, or that you are punishing yourself because you want to be somewhere that you're not yet. I hope this is making sense. One thing that also jumped out at me when I was putting the cards down is that you have the Woman of Cups and the Man of Cups both upright in the reading at the crowning, in the crowning positions of the spread here. So for some of you, this could indicate that you may at this time be coming into contact with someone who is very compatible for you. Seeing this, and you are a water sign, so this Woman of Cups definitely can, Woman or Man of Cups can definitely represent your energy. And seeing both of these cards upright in these crowning positions of the card, it does feel like a very beautiful alignment of two people who are ready and willing to kind of work together to collaborate in life, in love, and in commitment. It's something that could have potential for a long-term experience, let's say, or not. Don't get attached to that. It's not about happily ever after. This is just about like being met by someone that can help you grow and will reflect to you in ways that feels nurturing and caring and loving. Now with those two cards, you have the Moon and the Strength in reverse. I still feel like there's a really blessed, beneficial energy here, the Strength card. The Moon with the Woman of Cups, I do feel like this is sort of describing how, and then the Strength with the Man of Cups, I feel like those pairings are sending a message of a sort of harmonized energy. Like after seeing the previous spread and how that felt, it felt very sort of difficult and painful and dissonant. This feels really clear and beautiful, and there's a harmony here. There's this feeling of coming out of a difficult time and being in a more happy state, in a more harmonized place. And I feel like the Moon there is like offering support for you in the sense like that your intuition is really getting switched on. There's this feeling here like you are sort of really embodying and getting to a place of mastery in your emotional intelligence and in your intuitive capacity. And that energy you're able to tap into is really benefiting you in your growth and development. And the Strength card there with the Man of Cups, I feel is a similar energy. It's like this positive, kind of supportive feeling that comes with this person, I guess. But it's also you, of course, you know. And the crowning card in the reading is Seven of Worlds. And in this deck, it's called Breakthrough. So I really like to see that. This being the crowning card of the reading, it is almost like after all that trying, difficult time that we spoke about in the first reading, you coming to awareness with this Judgment and the Ace of Crystals at the heart of the reading is bringing you to this place where you can have a breakthrough because you have dug deep and found within you the clarity to kind of understand the situation that you're in and how to resolve it and how to move forward. And that's the energy of the breakthrough. It's like your own energy of contemplation and thoughtfulness and consideration and integrity is what's enabling you to actually kind of create the catalyst and generate the shift that you need. Now these cards down here I haven't really spoke on yet. You have Woman of Crystals in reverse with the Three of Cups, and here you have Ten of Cups and Fortune both reversed, and here's the Hierophant. So I feel that what this is saying down here is that you have, again, like this, the Hierophant feels to me like you having come through sort of a very trying, sort of rather difficult time, almost like an initiation, you know, like you've been in you've been tested, And the judgment there is kind of almost like the completion of that test, of that trial. And the result of that is the release from the trialing experience, because you kind of come up a level in your sort of initiation process, let's say. But these cards here, I do feel like these are kind of, these 4 cards here feel like they're speaking about what I spoke on in the previous reading there, where I talked about potentially the ending of a situation, or some kind of like, you know, this Woman of Cups in reverse here feels a lot similar to this Woman of Crystals in reverse, where I was feeling like there was someone around you potentially that's either emotionally immature, a little bit gossipy, or is somehow like not a close friend, but is somehow passing on information to you that is having a catalyzing effect. I feel like this is like kind of similar energy here, where, but there is in this reading, it's kind of giving this overtone view where it feels like that person may or may not be someone that you respect or admire or look up to. It's not necessarily someone that's close to you, but you almost like you understand from a higher perspective that this person is just a messenger, and you don't have to like the person, you don't have to like be their best friend or whatever, but they are playing a role somehow in what's going on for you at the moment. And it may not have, that person may not have integrity, and they may not be doing things in a like a loving and caring way, but the effect of their actions is actually somehow benefiting you, and you can kind of like accept that person's role in what they've done and forgive them and like release them, because at the end of the day it's not that important. Like your life is changing. Your life is changing. Yeah, Wheel of Fortune there. There's definitely major change afoot for you this month, Scorpio, and it's a very exciting change, because as I said, I feel like you have been very much overworked and very deeply involved in like some, whether your process has been about your personal endeavor in like emotional or spiritual kind of work that you've been doing to kind of transform, or whether it's actually just your physical environment and your work environment, or your family life and your relationships. Either way, you're definitely at a point here where you're about to kind of get a big breakthrough and have some clarity on some things that have been difficult. I feel like you're going to get a release from some of that overworked feeling, and there is going to be some more relaxation, and I feel like there's going to be a more graceful time ahead for you for this month, like a little bit of a break from the heaviness and the difficulty. So that's a really beautiful energy coming in. Let me just check over here if there's anything else to say. Bottom of the deck, 9 of Crystals, the Hanged Man reversed. Again, you had that in the previous reading. 5 of Wands reversed and 4 of Cups. I feel the message here is to really just stay focused and like see this thing through. There is this feeling here with the Hanged Man reversed that there's still this kind of lack of clarity or lack of understanding of what's going on and on a deeper level, and why you've had to have this experience. But I feel there is going to be, as I said, a lot of clarity coming through sometime this month, if not right already. This reading might just be describing what's already happened for you just recently. But there is a sense here of liberation, of some breaking out of some like binding situations, of some oppressive situation that has been uncomfortable and heavy, and a release, an emotional release coming through. Yeah, I think the message there with the Hangman is don't resist. Like, it's about acceptance of the circumstance for now, because it just is what it is. I think I feel that you're in a situation right now where things are going to change soon, and you know it. I think you kind of sense it. That's why you've kind of just been holding on and just like persevering and moving through things as gracefully as possible, but knowing that there is going to be a point soon where things are really changing, and that's definitely showing up here. That's coming through. Okay, let me just check over if there's nothing else here to say. Yeah, I think that's it for you, Scorpio. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for subscribing as well. It's an honor and a pleasure to read for you. I hope you found that helpful. You'll see links now on the screen for your Scorpio playlist. So if this is your first time here, please go back and watch some of the other readings from previous months. There's also readings for the other signs. There's another playlist there as well for all the signs for this month. So if you know your sun, moon, and ascendant, you can watch those signs too. Or if you're cross-watching for a friend or a loved one, you can see all the other readings there. Do watch that again towards the end of the month to have a review. You might find that parts of this reading don't make sense now, but later on in the month, after events unfold, you'll get a lot of benefit from what I've just said here today. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next month.